This is your USMNT Abroad weekend update from December 8th to December 10th of 2023. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Filippo, and welcome to Tactical Manager TV, and welcome to the US Men's National Team Abroad series, where every single Monday we update you on how the Yanks did abroad over the weekend. So I don't have much to say before we start, but to kindly ask you, if you want to give me a Christmas gift, you can do it by just hitting the like button. It's literally a way to give me a free gift. And this video is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy, but more on that later. Shall we begin? As always, let's start with the top 5 leagues in Europe. The first one being the English Premier League. And the first player that I'll be talking about here is Matt Turner from Nottingham Forest. And he's back at the starting 11. On Saturday, Matt Turner was back in the starting 11 for Nottingham Forest, and he played the full 90 minutes during their 1-1 draw with Wolves. So, you know how my jinxing powers are over 9,000? Like, very powerful? Well, I got news for you. I picked Vlacho Dimos to concede 2 goals or more for this match at the Underdog Fantasy app. And he was the goalkeeper that was starting over Matt Turner. Seriously, you can't make this stuff up. When I pick him, he loses the starting spot, which means I lost money to get Matt Turner back in the starting 11. And I did it for America, and I'm proud of it. It's what Uncle Ben used to say: with great powers come great irresponsibilities. And then he got shot and died. Oh no, and don't worry, I don't have an uncle named Ben. It's just that if I gave you my actual uncle's name, the joke wouldn't really land. And my uncle also didn't get shot. The link and promo code for Underdog are on the description of this video. But again, more on that later. Next up is Chris Richards from Crystal Palace, which is kind of interesting, the position they've been playing him lately. On Saturday, Chris Richards started again for Crystal Palace and played the full 90 minutes during their 2-1 loss to Liverpool. And he played once again as a 6, a central defensive midfielder, and it's been like that for 3 straight games. And I'll say this, he looked very good defensively, but he was barely involved in possession. He essentially looked like a center back playing as a central defensive midfielder because he is a center back. Now, to be fair, he was barely involved in possession, and so was Crystal Palace. I mean, Liverpool had over 70% ball possession in this match. Overall, he had a good performance, but I expect Chris Richards to remain as a center back for his career. The 6 or central defensive midfielder position can be his secondary position, and it shall remain this way. The only issue I had with this performance was that he probably should have put some pressure on Harvey Elliott at Liverpool's second goal. It's not really his fault, but he could have done better. What I'm trying to say is he should have stepped into the ball and made him shoot under pressure instead of, more or less just standing there, covering the goalkeeper's vision and allowing Elliott to strike with time and space. Besides that, he was rock solid defensively against a very tough opponent that currently leads the English Premier League, while being played out of position. Next up is Austin Trusty from Sheffield. On Saturday, Trusty started and played the full 90 minutes for Sheffield United during their 1-0 win over Brentford in the English Premier League. I didn't watch this match, but they did get a clean sheet, and that's good because he's a defender. And it looks like he actually played as a left back. That's what I heard. I'll look into that in other weeks. I'll try to watch Austin Trusty, and I'll keep you posted. Next up, we have Anthony Robinson and Tim Ream from Fulham. On Sunday, Robinson started and played 72 minutes for Fulham during their 5-0 win over West Ham in the Premier League, and he was subbed out when they already had a 4-0 lead. As for Tim Ream, he was not available, or at least he didn't even make the bench for this match. I found no reports of an injury or suspension, so it might have been for personal reasons, I'm not sure. He did get benched during the midweek when they defeated Nottingham Forest 5-0, and he didn't even make the bench this weekend when they defeated West Ham 5-0, so I don't know, man. The last game he played was last weekend when they lost to Liverpool. I guess I'll keep you posted. I think he might be dealing with a minor injury. It could be the case that he was benched. I just wouldn't really understand him not even making the bench. Now, very quick Premier League injury updates. Tyler Adams, he is out for at least a couple more months. He shouldn't be back till March. But then we have a quick update on Luca Coleosho because unfortunately, during the midweek, he injured his knee. Coleosho injured his knee during the midweek and will be out for a couple months. This is what company the Burnley manager had to say. I like to think he's still going to play this season, but it might be towards the end of the season. It sounds like Koleosho might not play this season anymore, and if he does, it'll probably not be that many games, which is very unfortunate because he was doing okay for Burnley at a very young age. So we're just going to wish Luca Koleosho a speedy recovery for now. Let's leave England and go to the wonderful country of Italy and talk about the Americans that play in the Serie A. So why don't we start with Christian Pulisic and Yunus Musa that play for Milan. On Saturday, Pulisic and Musa both started for Milan during their 3-2 loss to Atalanta in the Serie A. Both players went the distance by playing the full 90 minutes. And honestly, despite the loss, I thought the Americans played well, both of them. Yunus Musa didn't really stand out or make things happen, but he also made no mistakes throughout the match. He was very good on the ball, mostly good defensively. He played most of the match central as a central midfielder, but they moved him out wide later on to play as a right midfielder, right winger. Pioli does that quite often, but that was towards probably the final 25 minutes or so. He does also play better when he plays central. As for Pulisic, I also think he did well. He was trying to make things happen, drawing fouls, had some dangerous moments throughout the match, and he got the assist for Milan's second goal, and it was a pretty good assist. He got the ball down the left flank, he took on the defender to create space, where he went on to hit a low cross finding Jovic, who went on to score from close range. Pulisic now has 5 goals, 3 assists in 13 matches played in the Serie A. All goals came from open play. He's on track at the moment to get at least 20 goal contributions this season, which would be fantastic. Still in Italy, we have the boys that play for Juventus, actual title contenders. Milan is a little bit out of the title race right now, but Juve, they're very much in the title race with Inter Milan. So let's talk about Weston McKennie and Tim Weah from Juventus. On Friday, McKennie started and played 89 minutes for Juve during their massive 1-0 win over Napoli in the Serie A, the current champions Napoli. McKennie had once again a very good performance, winning his duels, doing great defensive work, playing a key role tactically, and honestly, looking good on offense in multiple occasions. He did almost score off a bicycle kick, which sure, one could argue whether or not that was the right decision, the acrobatic move for that specific play, but it looked cool, and that matters. Kinda. Not really, but it looked cool. McKennie also had a brilliant moment where he took a wonderful first touch to settle the ball and he set up Vlahovic. The striker then went on to hit the post. It was a great play, but it was called offside, so it wouldn't have counted anyway. McKennie also technically got the hockey assist for Juventus' goal, but it was a pretty normal pass, so I wouldn't really give him too much credit there. The conclusion is this was an overall good performance from Weston McKennie. He is a locked-in starter for Juventus, a legit title contender in the Serie A. And you know what's crazy? Allegri's soccer terrorism is working. It worked again. They got the 1-0 win against Napoli. As for Tim Weah, he will be back from injury next weekend. But before we continue, a quick word from the sponsor of this video, Underdog Fantasy. And while you're listening to it, drop a like in the video. And thank you, Underdog Fantasy, for sponsoring Tactical Manager TV. Underdog Fantasy is a fun game to play prior to any soccer match, or basketball, or football as well, but we don't talk about those two in Tactical Manager TV. Sometimes basketball during live watch-alongs. I have been playing Underdog Fantasy for over a year now. You can download the app by using the link on the description of this video, and you can also use the promo code TMTV. And Underdog will be matching your first deposit for up to $100. And in the process, you'll be helping the channel avoid bankruptcy. The game I mainly play is called Pick'em. You just click on it, scroll to the soccer section, and pick a player for a specific match and select the stats that you believe will be lower or higher. It's very easy to play, but be smart about your picks because it's not easy to win. I'll be playing some Underdog Fantasy during some match live streams or match live watch-alongs, so stay tuned for that, as I will be forced to cheer for a player or root against him. Now, I am a professional hater, so I'll probably be rooting for the player's downfall. Once again, don't forget to use the promo code TMTV and use the link on the description of this video. Thank you, Underdog Fantasy, for sponsoring the channel. Now that we're back, let's talk about the Americans that play in Germany in the Bundesliga. So why don't we start with Giovanni Reyna from Borussia Dortmund. On Saturday, Gio Reyna started off the bench and was subbed in the 82nd minute for Dortmund during their 3-2 loss to Leipzig in the Bundesliga. I didn't watch this match mainly because Terzic barely, if ever, plays Gio Reyna, and I'm not a Dortmund fan, so I just sort of stopped watching them at this point. I did, however, see that despite the limited minutes, Giovanni Reyna almost scored a golazo, a banger, but I can't comment on the 8-minute performance that he had. Dortmund also ain't doing very well in the Bundesliga, and if they don't figure out things fairly quickly, they might not qualify to the Champions League next season, which, since I'm not a Dortmund fan and Gio Reyna probably will leave Dortmund, or at least he should leave Dortmund, I'm just kind of tired of repeating this. I don't really care if they make the Champions League or not. But moving on from that, let's talk about Brenden Aaronson from Union Berlin, Joe Scally from Gladbach, and Pfak from Gladbach, because Gladbach and Union Berlin clashed over the weekend. On Saturday, Brenden Aaronson started off the bench and was subbed in the 74th minute for Union Berlin during their 3-1 win over Borussia Mönchengladbach. They won. Union Berlin finally won. What has it been, like 14 games? Unbelievable. Congratulations. Union Berlin finally won again. It's been a while. As for Pfak, he was not available due to injury, and Joe Scally started for Gladbach and was subbed out around minute 70 when they were down 2-0. Next up, we have John Brooks from Hoffenheim. On Friday, Brooks started and played the full 90 minutes for Hoffenheim during their 3-1 win over Bochum in the Bundesliga. After John Brooks, we have Kevin Paredes from Wolfsburg. On Saturday, Paredes started off the bench and was subbed in the 80th minute for Wolfsburg during their 1-0 loss to Freiburg in the Bundesliga. Another young American in the Bundesliga is Paxton Aronson from Eintracht Frankfurt. And on Saturday, Paxton unfortunately stayed on the bench the full 90 minutes for Eintracht during their incredible 5-1 win over Bayern. And Harry Kane arriving at Bayern and, them possibly going trophyless this season will probably be the funniest thing to ever happen to the sport. Now, listen, I'm not saying Bayern will go trophyless this season, but it is a possibility. Leverkusen has been very good in the Bundesliga, so maybe Bayern could go trophyless. Maybe. They probably won't. And if they did, it would be freaking hilarious. Last but not least, in Germany, we have Leonard Maloney from Heidenheim. Saturday, Maloney started and played 67 minutes for Heidenheim during their 3-2 win over Darmstadt. I think that's how you pronounce it. And I do want to say one thing. Maloney scored an own goal. He scored an own goal this match. Okay, sorry, I probably had you there for a second. You probably thought he scored. No, he scored an own goal. After Germany, we have the Americans that play in Spain, and that would just be Luca de la Torre for now. And he plays this Monday. We record on Sunday. So if you're watching Luca de la Torre on Monday, drop a comment on how he did in the comment section of this video. And the other American that will be in Spain very soon in January is Johnny Cardoso, the Brazilian American from Internacional. But he won't be able to play till January. The last player we have to report on the top 5 leagues would be Balogun that plays for Monaco in France. On Saturday, Balogun started and played the full 90 minutes for Monaco during their 2-1 win over Reims in France. Balogun decided to abandon the goal-scoring role and embrace a playmaking role. Okay, I know he ain't a playmaker, and he didn't really play as a playmaker, but he did get 2 assists. So he was playmaking or creating goal-scoring opportunities for his teammates. Sorta. Let's talk about it. Balogun had a very good game, an extremely influential performance for Monaco during their 2-1 win. It was a bit sloppy at times, but he looked dangerous in multiple occasions, helped create goal-scoring opportunities for himself and his teammates, hit a few shots, and most importantly, got 2 assists. The first assist, he was able to settle the ball in the box and put Van der Sar in a good position to strike and score. It was a very nice setup. Now, the second assist was more of an assist, if you know what I'm saying. You see, it was a long ball where Balogun, got the first touch and passed it to Fofana somewhere close to the midfield, which led to Fofana dribbling another 30 or 40 yards and then just scoring on his own. Balogun clearly played a role on setting that up, but, he will get the credit for the assist, but Fofana did pretty much everything. Towards the final 20 minutes of this match, Monaco was also doing a lot of defending because Van der Sar, the goal scorer, got a red card. And then you could see Adi Hutter, the manager of Monaco, he kept Balogun in the field to try to hit them in transition on the counter. So the first goal was still scored when the match was 11 players versus 11 players. The second goal was scored when Monaco was actually playing man down. A massive away win from Monaco. Balogun now has 4 goals and 3 assists in only 750 minutes played in Liga 1 this season. And he currently starts for a top 3 team in France. Yet, some CONCACAF fans say that he is struggling. If that is Balogun struggling, man, I can't wait to see when he's in form. But I'll just finalize Balogun by saying this. He's doing fine. It hasn't been perfect. He had some issues throughout these matches, but he's having a major impact for Monaco, right away. And they're a top 3 team in France right now. So I think Balogun has been doing just fine. Now let's go to the Netherlands and report on the Americans that play in the Eredivisie. And we'll start the ones that play for PSV. And they are Malik Tillman, Ricardo Pepi, and Serginho Dest. PSV actually didn't play this weekend. However, someone requested for me to report on their game played on Thursday, and I will do so. On Thursday, Serginho Dest and Malik Tillman both started and went the full 90 minutes for PSV during their 2-0 win over Heerenveen in the Eredivisie. Ricardo Pepi started off the bench and was subbed in the 76th minute, and then he scored right away at the 78th minute to make it 2-0 and put the nail in the coffin for this match and get PSV the win. I do want to add that for some reason, FUTMOB did not reward Malik Tillman with an assist for the first goal, but it was off his cross. So to me, he did get the assist. I don't know why they didn't reward him. It was a very nice left-footed low cross. I don't know why they didn't give him the assist. Now, Ricardo Pepi scored his 4th goal in the Eredivisie season with less than 190 minutes played for PSV. So his productivity per 90 minutes is actually quite impressive. And PSV also has 15 wins in 15 matches with a plus 46 goal differential. Complete dominance. They pretty much won the league already. They're not losing the Eredivisie this season. They've been fantastic. Still in the Netherlands, we have Taylor Booth from Utrecht. On Sunday, Taylor Booth started off the bench and was subbed in the 63rd minute for Utrecht during their 2-0 win over Go Ahead Eagles. I still can't believe that's a real team. Next up, we have Jordi Mihailovic from AZ Alkmaar. Saturday, Mihailovic started and played 64 minutes for AZ Alkmaar during their 4-1 win over Almere in the Eredivisie. The good news here is that his minutes continue to trend up. The bad news is he was subbed out of this match when it was still 1-1 and they end up winning 4-1 without him. It's still good news that his minutes are trending up. Next up, we would have gone to the EFL Championship, the English Second Division, to report on Josh Sargent, but he is still injured. However, he is expected to be back this month, so give him another week or two and Josh Sargent will be back. The other player that we were going to report on would be in Scotland. That would have been Cameron Carter-Vickers from Celtic, but he has a minor hamstring injury, so he wasn't available over the weekend. However, he is expected to not miss much time, so he should be back soon. Maybe even next weekend already. Now, for the Americans in Belgium, I'm only going to quickly talk about Gabriel Sonina from Eupen. I don't think the other ones have much relevance for the US men's national team at the moment, so I'll report on them occasionally. And on Sunday, Sonina started against Genk. Mark McKenzie, for some reason, was not available for Genk as a center back. I'll say one thing. Sonina made a horrible mistake this match, just like Matt Turner did a while back for Nottingham Forest that got him benched. I don't think Sonina will get benched, but as I said before, he is struggling a little bit in Belgium. Statistically speaking, he's not doing very well, and he's making some mistakes like that. However, he's only 19, which is super young for a goalkeeper, and I think he's gaining some valuable experience for his development. Essentially, what I'm trying to say is I don't really care if he's performing poorly. What matters is the talent is there. We know he's very talented. He has potential, and he's gaining valuable experience at a high level. Now let's quickly go through the Americans that don't play in Europe but also play abroad. Well, I was going to talk about Johnny Cardoso, but the season with Internacional is over, so Johnny won't play for Internacional anymore. He'll move to Spain to play for Real Betis this January, and from what I've heard, he is actually expected to get a lot of minutes for them right away, from the get-go. So probably by mid-January, he's probably going to be getting minutes already, maybe earlier. Next up is Alejandro Zendejas from Club America. On Saturday, Zendejas started off the bench and was subbed in the 66th minute for Club America during their 2-0 loss to San Luis in the Liga MX semifinals second leg. But Club America had won the first leg 5-0, so they were essentially just resting a bunch of players and the loss didn't really matter. they qualified to the Liga MX final. The final will have 2 matches as well, the first one being this Thursday, and the second one will be next Sunday. Alright everyone, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to drop a like before you go, and to check out Underdog Fantasy, the link is on the description and the promo code TMTV. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.